Fair elections are something that most of us on this side of a ballot box expect and aspire to. One of the basic assumptions behind a free and fair election is that everybody's vote count as much as possible. While some votes will always be wasted in elections, as politics are one of the dimensions that cluster geographically, the way that apportionment maps are drawn can waste far more votes. In our system of first past the post single member elections, it's the geography of the district lines which translate votes into representation. The people who draw the maps can advantage themselves via gerrymandering. For instance, these districts in rural Illinois and Chicagoland are drawn to advantage Democrats by wasting Republican votes via cracking in the Chicago suburbs. Similarly, the former 6th and 7th districts in Pennsylvania were drawn to create two safe Republican districts where only one was to be expected. One result of this is increased incumbency in the U.S. House of Representatives, as incumbents in safe districts are returned again and again and again. Some of this is to be expected, again due to clustering, naturally creating some safe districts, but the increase in House tenure from the Reconstruction era to the 1950s is striking. This increase in incumbency advantage runs in tandem with another phenomenon. As the American population grew and states were added, the size of the legislature was also expanded to keep pace. In the first Congress, each of the 65 representatives legislated on behalf of some 60,000 people. This ratio began to increase more rapidly after Reconstruction, and even more rapidly since the number of House members was fixed at the modern 435 in 1913. Today the ratio stands at more than 750,000 persons per House member. Typically, geographers have looked at gerrymandering through a spatial lens, attempting to create metrics to identify gerrymandering. The Polsby-Popper formula shown here, for instance, is typical. It compares the area enclosed by a district to the area enclosed by a circle of the same perimeter. These compactness measurements have met with limited success in litigation. I am interested in exploring another geographic theme, that of scale. What happens if we expand the size of the legislature? Obviously, if we double the size of the House, the districts become smaller. They have half the population. As the districts become smaller, intuition suggests that it will become more difficult to gerrymander for partisan advantage simply because each district will consist of fewer precincts and there will be fewer ways to create gigantic, meandering, gerrymandered districts. I propose the following research. It's a simple experiment. We built a Monte Carlo model of redistricting the 5-county area around Philadelphia using the constraints of having contiguous districts, roughly nearly as possible equal population sizes per district, and as a stretch goal, if possible, to add in the Voter Rights Act of 1964 compliance. This Monte Carlo model will generate reapportionment maps with the current number of districts, that is our control group, and another set with twice as many districts, that's the experimental group. Then we will assess the outcomes, be a statistical comparison of the map spaces in the control group and the experimental group. Typical metrics that we might use to look at this would be the partisan wasted vote metric proposed by Stephanopoulos and any of the various compactness metrics. And our final deliverable will be to write a research report and prepare a poster from this. Monte Carlo model would work by randomly seeding a map of electoral precincts, and then from each seed accreting precincts one per turn until we had tiled the entire map with 4 contiguous districts of roughly equal population. In this case, the map of Chester County, Pennsylvania is being tiled into 4 such districts. The Monte Carlo model would draw thousands or potentially tens of thousands, or arbitrarily as many as we like, districts like this, district maps like this. And those would be the basis for the analysis. While this will not solve the problem of gerrymandering, putting a ground level understanding of all the various things that permit it to occur is useful if we want to one day arrive at a place where we have something really to celebrate on election day in form of free and fair elections where we choose our representatives instead of them choosing us. Thank you.